Traders continuing to chase the market melt up. Can anything stop the momentum here? SPX finally hitting our target major numbers that we talked about really over the last week and yesterday specifically. It is Friday, September 19th, 2025. If you guys end up liking the video, maybe give it a like, subscribe to the channel, or come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts analysis and live day trading. We got a sale going on all month long there as well. Interesting day here. A couple of things to cover right off the bat. We did finally hit that number. The Qs still haven't quite hit the whole round. But if you know why these two numbers matter, meaning 600 and the quadruple 6 on SPX, you know, it's like if you know type situation. I won't get into it too much, but there's a big convergence there. And I was kind of hoping it would hit on a gap up this morning. I talked about you could fade it. I said you could fade the gap in whatever direction that would come in, and I was hoping it would just gap up into this. But you know, we did get a fade the gap move, a little pullback, and then pinned to 66.50 all day. And now they're just kind of pushing it up here as we get into the last 30 minutes of this session. I want to stress this too. I might even stop altogether personally, but it's options X for the month of September. So we got 6.3 trillion in premium expiring here. You know, you look at an SMH here, it's not a coincidence that it just sold off the first 10 minutes and then went sideways at 315, which is your LG1, right? There's lots of stocks like this. I always tell everyone to take certain price action with a grain of salt, whether that's, you know, market up or market down. These things are very common, and things can get a little wonky. Certain correlations can break down, and it's just not a good day for trading in general. It's very rare that you get any sort of trend. We're starting to see a little bit here towards the end, obviously. We'll see if it mean reverts to 65.50 by the close, but nonetheless, we finally got this number here out of the way, and a lot of positive gamma rolling off on Monday. So we've talked about this extensively, and we'll see if we get to some sort of a pivot here. A lot of people are predicting, you know, we're at the screenshot gains part of the cycle now. Starting to see a lot of that here, and again, for me, I'm seeing it from the people who are hiding under their desks in April. But nonetheless, market's holding up here, and QQQ 600. Just to go over a little history here too. I wasn't even going to show this, but you know what? We'll just show it here. Before we even do that, let's take a look here. This is across all expiration, and you can see there's nothing past 6. That's the end of the line there for dealers. That's across all expiries as well, and we still have the 6,500 LG for end of quarter on SPX. So maybe that's a little bit of a wall there. Maybe that's a catalyst for a pullback next week once the gamma rolls off. I'm still betting that is going to be the case. And you might say, well, Aaron, who the hell cares about your stupid 600 dealer wall? Obviously, you don't know what you're talking about, and you've never had a winning trade ever in your career because we got through 6,500, blah, blah, blah. Okay, right, but it took how many weeks to do that? This was your first attempt here, and it took about 5-6 weeks to break through that. We're now more extended going into this than we were then. We can also take a little history look here at the Qs. Since 2009, and again, very important number here, reason for that. But you know, every time that you've hit the a whole $100 round number, you've had between a 10, right? There's a 10%, 200, there's about 8.7, 300, there's 15. This one is 40%, right? This one was 550. That's what, probably 25-30%. Or maybe it was, that was 24. That was it was like 17%. So you've had between a 10% and a 40% correction each of those whole round numbers. And I just showed you where dealers are sitting. So that's all free information. So, I mean, if you want to continue to be a buyer here, that's up to you. I can't chase momentum at this stage of the game, and that's where I'm at with this. But nonetheless, you know, market's continuing to act well. No sell signal yet. And they're continuing to melt up, and they're pushing it up here. And I'm very interested to see how this market responds with that positive gamma rolling off. I mean, there's no shortage of bear information, bear news. So there's no point in getting into that. We do have yields continuing to uptick for the third day in a row after the Fed cutting. You also have, speaking of yields, Japanese 5-year at the highest now since 2008. So interesting to see there. And the dollar index continuing to rally up 3 days in a row there off the lows. But again, positive gamma covers up a lot of that. And we have hit that number now finally. So feels a lot better here. We'll see if we close at 66.50. So again, this is why I always stress like not to chase trend here on these days. And again, maybe it holds up, but I never really have a good read on OPEX Friday. The only time where it's different is when you can clearly tell that volatility is unpinned, right? Like back in February, after expiration, sometimes it wants to do its thing and it will move. But if that's not the case, immediately, it's just very tough read. One thing about volatility too, I'll say is very interesting. VIX futures, and I'm using VIX futures specifically. I don't recall a day that I saw VIX futures green on monthly OPEX, unless the market was actually dumping, whether the market was up or down. And the reason for that is usually you're going to get some sort of a vol selling, like vol compression, as the market's pinned, right? So even if the market's down, like let's say $2, by the way, this SPY chart's not adjusted for dividend, so SPX looks a lot different intraday, but you get that vol compression, even if the market's down like $1 or $2, with the short-term VIX futures, and even for like the ETNs, VIXY, UVXY, I know you guys use a lot of these, they reflect short-term futures. They're all up right now. It's very rare, right, if the market's not down a ton to see the short end of the VIX curve up. Sometimes the long end of the VIX curve will be up, right, which the short end's actually beating the long end right now, right? The actual VIX is red. I think VVIX is flat. Yeah, flat to lower. It's very rare. That's all I'll say. It's just I can't recall a time I've seen it. So anyway, just something to think about. Outside of that, IWM here, and yeah, I know I've been a little early on on this trade here, but again, speaking of IWM, there's an all-time high yesterday, so patience pays in this game. But yeah, Russell 2000 gapping into 245, backing off that. Maybe it can go to 250 even, and I wouldn't rule it out. It's not that far away. It's only 5 more points. You could easily gap up there. Dow Jones, new all-time high, new all-time closing high. So Dow leading right now, and still strong here. Yeah, 458. Break below that would be, a little bit of damage here. SMH obviously mentioned again with that pin at 315. And it's sitting right there right now. It's been pinned all day, so it could probably move a little bit now that we're close enough to 4 o'clock. By the way, there's going to be some wacky moves here. You'll probably see Nvidia, like Apple already dipping. By the way, Apple, another one, at 245 now. So sometimes patience works, In fact, that's 90% of what this game is. But in any case, yeah, we see some wacky moves here in the last 10 minutes. That's normal. Again, that's another thing to not get too excited about. If you see your favorite stock get dumped, it's probably just some options related stuff. But yeah, SMH here, yeah, inside hammer there after the big move yesterday. IGV continuing to melt. Look at Oracle up a little bit here, but it was really Palantir and MSFT, which up 0.5%, did a lot of the legwork there. I think CrowdStrike was up again too. Oh, CrowdStrike flat. But anyway, nonetheless, IGV still acting well. Transports here, got to be careful. Again, it has not, it bounced off this trend line, but it's not really, like, it's not getting a robust move. And this weekly, next week, I would bet on trend. That's ready for trend. I don't know if it's up or down, but you do have a red inside bar there. 2-year note, lower. Again, yields higher across the board. DLT down. And guess where it's at? 89. Well, who could have predicted that? XHB down $1.37. This has been quietly pulling back here. Again, I still like this if this base is a little bit more. Going into the fall, and then IYR here down 7 cents. XLF was weak early on, and it did pop back, so it's trying to negate that red bar there. So we got about 20 minutes left. Looks like it can do it, but it's close enough that it might come back in before the close. We'll see. That'll be a nail biter there. KRE was down all day, down 1.2. And again, that 66 handle still is resistance, but it has higher lows here. So it's, and the weekly is fine here. So no problems with that yet. Broker dealers were dipping earlier, but right back up. We had oil down 88 cents, possible lower high there. XLE's in better shape, but it was down today as well. So was XOP and OIH. OIH just can't get that 260 weekly close. Dollar we mentioned, but yeah, nice rebound there. 98 or so is going to be your first test. Gold had a huge day, up 1%. Barrick, I heard Jensen Wang, they're now going to use AI chips to mine gold. I'm kidding. No, but seriously, Barrick up 10%. Now it's like almost back to 50% of what it was in 08. So yeah, nice move for Barrick. GDX here up 5%. GDXJ, lower high. Not by much, but it is a lower high. That just make note of that. I would want to see the most risky sector in this space lead, and it's not. It's minor detail, but details matter. And it might be nothing, but there's something to pay attention to. Silver, SIL, possible lower high. Same thing with SILJ, but the metal is basically at double top. So again, miners, the junior miners just slipping a little bit. And in silver, I don't know if it's enough of a difference to make a ton out of it, but I'm just saying, notice this stuff if it continues. I did a video on the blog, by the way, last night, if you guys want to check that out. It's kind of a follow-up to the RSI video, but it's also on gold as well. Just something I find interesting. It's right here. It's a quick, it's like 6 minutes. But that's nice little nuggets in there. Platinum here up 1.5. It's tightening up. It still looks okay. Palladium. I like it if it can reclaim 12. Copper, it's copper. There's nothing going on there. It's back above 460, so golf clap. Also, yeah, correlation up today too. So again, you can tell there's higher lows first time in a long time. Bitcoin also not participating in the rally today too, down 1.5. So possibly, yeah, that's an engulfing there on Bitcoin today too. So possible lower high there. Let me see if there is I bet you there's a fib up here. Yep, there's 618, okay. So it's rejecting that right now. We'll see where it closes the week. If this follows through to the downside, it wouldn't be the greatest look. The weekly chart is still undamaged though. Ethereum, I would get a little nervous if it loses 44.50 on a close. But your master level is still 42.07. So anyway, we'll see what happens here. Yeah, little uptick, and if we pull back 10 points here, it'll prove my point about OPEX and not chasing trend. But it's not of much consequence either way. Most of premium, whatever they needed to burn has been burned, so I'm not gonna make too much out of it at this point. But we'll see what happens in the next week. I'm very curious to see how this plays out. But anyways, guys, I'll wrap it up here. Yeah, and you guys take care. Have a great weekend. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com, and I'll see you guys all on Monday.